Hey golfers, have you heard what's new in Pengilly? Come play one of over 600 courses and work on your swing utilizing state-of-the-art Foresight technology. Open by appointment only. Follow our Facebook page, Swan Lake Simulator Golf and Club Repair, for information, specials, and monthly tournaments.
Welcome everybody to the Tea with Ms McGill Show, presented by Fortune Bay Resort and Casino. Make plans today to visit Fortune Bay Resort and Casino for the long President's Day weekend, or any weekend for that matter, on beautiful Lake Vermilion. Fortune Bay has 172 rooms and a smoke-free resort, indoor pool, full-service marina, RV park, world-class golf, several dining options, bar, 24/7 gaming. Visit fortunebay.com for details and plan your trip today. Of course, the ice fishing houses were out. I don't know if they're still out. Super Bowl Sunday coming up this Sunday. So go maybe catch the game, get your game on up there at Fortune Bay while you're at it. All right, it is Puka speaking. Star of the show, Coach Reed Larson, episode 79. 12 weeks in, boys high school hockey season. Starting to feel like it? Doggies are ending though, right?
Yeah, I think kids are starting to get healthier. I think the end of the season is winding down. But for those that are looking at making a run, it's just winding up. So
it's the intensity winding up. Feel it.
Well, 12 weeks into the season, and for some teams, they may be thinking, is it coming to an end? And for others, I got to say, I'm having more fun than I've had in a long time.
Really?
Could see the season continue to go, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Well, you guys got a lot of momentum going on right now.
Keep rolling with it. Hopefully your teams you're in the same place I'm at with the team that I'm working with. Hopefully you're excited about week 12 and you're excited about another week before playoffs, and we're ready to roll.
It's coming fast. It's coming. Girls playoffs, of course, has already kicked off. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Just a couple of ways you can help the show that are absolutely free. You can hit the share button right now. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Facebook. We'd appreciate that. We continue to move towards 800 subs. So be just like these folks: Dylan Petrovnik, my buddy Kent Chan, Jordy Stayskull, and Bree Wagner. New subs this week. So be just like them and join America's fastest growing hockey show on the internet. We're like breaking the internet. So, all right, let's roll in here to the game of the week. Brought to you by Aspire Heating and Control, your local Bryant dealer. And Bryant is the official heating and cooling company of your Minnesota Wild. Aspire specializes in gas, electric, and hydronic heating and cooling systems for existing and new construction. Residential and commercial installations available. Services include forced air systems, boilers, heat pumps, and mini splits. They are, of course, licensed and bonded. So Justin's the guy you call, 218-999-5957, 218-999-5957. And remember, air conditioning season is just around the corner, so be thinking about a tune-up there. Get a hold of Justin for that. All right, barn burner. Last Friday night, right here at Yanmar. The Thunderhawks continue to roll, take down another top 10 team in Andover. We kind of saw it all, right? Excitement, 1-0 game, tons of excitement, an ejection late, which kind of sets things up for if you guys do meet in the playoffs, kind of some intensity, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think there's a nice little rivalry between those two teams over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, and every game has been close. I think they've had our number last year both times. It was more of a beating the 2 times we played them last year. But in previous years, the year before that, close games both times. This year, 1-goal game, and you just never know what you're going to get. I think both teams know that they're going to get the best effort from the other team when it's Grand Rapids and Hanover. It's a nice little rivalry that's playing out nice, and it should hopefully those teams get a chance to meet again.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah, like you said. Especially like I said with the late ejects there, just adds to the intensity. Yeah, so shots were pretty even. Mark Manny, coach, was he out sick?
Yeah, I believe Mark was under the weather. In fact, he was under the weather the night before too.
Oh, when they
played Elk River and lost in Elk River, and he's got a nice staff. He's got a nice group of guys that work for him that do a really good job and that he can lean on. And I couldn't say anything better about those guys. They do a really nice job. But when the head cheese is away,
it's different.
It is different. It's different when a guy like Mark Manny, a smart hockey coach, knows what he's doing when he's gone. It's a different dynamic. Kids sometimes play different. So, I think that's the case with a lot of different teams, but I know Mark Manny's a student of the game and then understands a lot. So that definitely changes a few things for them, but it can't change the effort of the team that won that night either. There was a good effort from that group. So nothing taken away from that win, but yes, he was not on the bench that night.
Yeah, very exciting. And like I said, shots were about even at the end there. I can't remember what they ended up, but I know they were within a 1 or 2. So like I said, well played game. So a couple, you guys do meet, like I said, a couple things to look forward to, including Mark Manny possibly, or hopefully, I guess for them, being back on the bench.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get a chance to, if you get a chance and an opportunity to open up the Duluth News Tribune. They did a nice article on the 3 goalies.
Yes.
For Rapids, Ryder and Ryan and Carter Casey. So if you get a chance and you see a paper from yesterday.
Yeah.
Is yesterday's Duluth News Tribune. It was a really nice article and continuing to create problems for our coaching staff to make decisions as the year comes down. They're not making it any easier for us, which is a good thing. In quoting Grant, this is a terrible problem for a coach to have, but it's a great problem for a team because you got 3 phenomenal goalies. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, each goalie has pitched a shutout. You know, Ryder pitched a shutout when we were in Brainerd. Carter pitches the shutout when we're playing against Andover, and Ryan pitches the shutout here on Tuesday night over in Denfeld. So it's a terrible problem, but it's a great problem.
Yeah.
So that continues to be a real good X factor for Grand Rapids.
All right, let's move on. Oh, by the way, I've had this question. I just asked Coach Reed Larson. So some of you have asked me, the semifinals and the finals for 7AA are at AMSO. For some reason, there's something going on around out there. I've been asked a couple of times. So just to clear that up for all of you wondering, semifinals and finals are at AMSOIL, because some people were thinking the semifinals.
Yeah, they do have the sites and the times if you were to be, I guess, well-versed enough to click on the State High School League, the Minnesota State High School League page.
Yep.
You can click on the sport. You can click on tournaments. You can click on section tournament. You can select section 7AA, and it'll say home sites for the quarterfinals, AMSOIL for the semis on Saturday, and then AA, the finals will be the following Thursday.
Okay.
So it's the 20th, whatever the Saturday is, and then the following, the 28th or whatever that is the following.
So the
Thursday.
20th is 12 days away.
Yeah.
Just 12 days away. All right, smack that like button. Another game we had our eye on for last weekend, and a game you did with my 9 Cloquet Hermantown. Boy, Hermantown pounced early.
Yeah, they jumped on it early within the first, 15 seconds of the game. They popped one in, and that's exactly what they needed to do. I don't think anybody with a hockey brain can argue that, at the beginning of the season, the first half, Hermantown had a hard time finding a high level of scoring that they're used to having in the past.
Sure.
They didn't score as many goals. They weren't as offensive. Dane Calloway on the back end has been awesome between the pipes for them, but they really have a nice decor. They've got a couple of really good guys that contribute up front on offense. They jump in on the play. They create offense on the rush. So it was nice for them to get that because Cloquet has chipped a couple of teams.
Oh, yeah.
Has played a few teams tough. Again, they took Grand Rapids into overtime. They've beat a couple other teams and been tough on a couple other teams too. So if you don't jump on those teams like that right away, it can get interesting and drag on and on. So it was pretty cool to see Hermantown clicking on all cylinders. They did that within 15 seconds of starting the game, and it was catch-up time basically. I think they were able to get one in on them in the first period, but after that, Cloquet had a tough time keeping up after. It was just keep the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
And that's what you're used to seeing when you see Hermantown play. You're used to seeing that. You didn't
Regroup
really
and come
see
back.
that until after Christmas this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was because I looked, shots were 19-19 after score was 3-1. And then the wheels kind of fell up, late there with Hermantown scoring 3 goals, the 15:02 mark, the 15:20 mark, and then the 16:42 mark. So, but yeah, good game. And like I said, up and down the ice, Cloquet, like I said, home game for Cloquet. If that first goal had popped Cloquet's way, say they scored 15 seconds into the game, it could have been just the other way around.
It could have been, yeah. You're dealing with the other end of the rink for Cloquet. They've got a couple of talented guys on that first line of theirs. Bobby Thornton, that line is pretty good for those guys, and Knutson as well as Gentilini. That's a nice line. They're going to be good again for another year.
They're juniors.
I believe so.
Okay.
And they're going against a pretty darn good goalie, Dave
Yeah.
Callaway. So
Sure. All right. Again, smash that like button. We'll head over to the preview section. Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Ball in Virginia. We've talked about them. The gift buyer's paradise. Valentine's Day is coming. By the way, how'd the anniversary go?
awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
was
So
awesome.
make sure we get the plug in.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was my anniversary on Monday night. And I have had a sick wife all week. So what I did is I stopped at the Forest Lake and I brought the
Ooh.
Forest Lake to my wife.
There you go. Good
She's
call.
been under the weather here and hoping that she's well here soon. So
All right.
Trouble this winter.
Oof. All right. We'll get well soon. Yeah. ODR swag. Got the cap. Got more caps. So if you're looking for that perfect gift for somebody, and especially exclusively the ODR line is found there at Iron Range Apparel. So shoot over and do some shopping at the Thunderbird Mall in Virginia at Iron Range Apparel. All right. So like I said, things don't slow down for you guys. We've talked about your stacked schedule. So on the road this weekend to the 17-4-1 Benilde St. Margaret Red Knights, who are currently ranked number 5 in AA.
Yeah, it isn't anything different than what we've seen for the last 3 weeks.
No.
I mean, we saw White Bear Lake and Hill Murray come in one weekend, and those were close games, and we came on the bottom end of those. We've seen Maple Grove, who was ranked 5 at the time. We've seen St. Thomas Academy, who was ranked 8th at the time. Able to see Andover, who is ranked in the top 10. So it isn't anything different than what we've expected. It doesn't scare anybody, but and what I like about it is it keeps us at a high level. We need to play at a certain pace in order to be prepared for the playoffs and get it into the section tournament. And those are the teams we want to play. So that's an afternoon matinee, 3:00 game down in St. Louis Park against the Red Knights. And that's going to be a battle. They're a tougher team this year than what they've been. And what I mean by tougher is usually they're really skilled and make the plays. They still have skill, but now they're gritty. They actually are a tough team to play against now. Tougher and more gritty. So that's going to be a challenge for us. That's going to force us to play a certain way. And again, it's the way that Grant Clapton wants us to play, which Clapton wants us to be a grit team and be ready to play that way into the playoffs.
Well, you proved it against Andover. You guys were definitely gritty there. All right. Another one we want to preview Tuesday next week. Rock Ridge at Memorial Building in Hibbing. You remember that rivalry when you were coaching. The Hibbing, Virginia rivalry was a great rivalry. Kind of started after my years. Seemed like our rival was more Rapids, but then when I moved back, it's because, well, I think it was the single A thing, and they had to beat they beat each other, go to state. Do you think that's maintaining? I mean, I know you know some of the staff there. Will that maintain, or do you think it's maintaining? Is it going to be the same with Evelyn and Virginia coming together?
I think it's different now. I think there's still a rivalry there. I don't think you're ever going to get away from it's Virginia and it's Hibbing now, but now it's Virginia and Evelyn and Hibbing. So there's still that piece to it, but it's different. Hibbing's playing for a double or for a single A section seed. Virginia's playing Virginia Rock Ridge, Evelyn. Rock Ridge is playing for a double A seed. Right. So I think it changes the landscape of that a little bit. Is there still the hatred there? There is. They still hate each other. Fortunately, things kind of changed a little bit when I was in Virginia. At the beginning of my time there, when I first started, the biggest rivalry was Hibbing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then it shifted to the last couple of years. The biggest rival game became Evelyn. Yeah. So now those two combined, maybe it brings it back a little bit, but I don't think it's the same as it's been in the past. But maybe they can revive that. I mean, it's always been the last game of the regular season. They always do one in January, and they always do one on like February 13th or 14th. It's always either on Valentine's Day or the day before.
Okay. So
it's always kind of, okay, this is it before the seeding conversation, be ready because it's going to matter for seeding. While this one for Rock Ridge doesn't really matter that much for seeding, and I don't think it matters that much for Hibbing for seeding either. Right. It maybe helps them with their strength of schedule and boosts things up for Hibbing if they're looking at a 2 seed.
Right.
Yep. But for Rock Ridge, I don't think that does a whole lot. A win doesn't do very much in that situation. A loss might.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, lost my
Unfortunately.
Right. Yep. I see what you're saying there. All right, Scores and More, presented by the Rink Sports Bar and Grill, just down from the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame in the aforementioned Eveleth. Use your gift cards, breakfast, lunch, dinner, full menu, full bar, Friday fish fry. It's going to be that time. So for the Catholics, pretty soon, Lent next week. So Friday fish fry, keep that in mind. Daily specials, hockey themed establishment. Give Michelle a call, 248-8582. And we've also talked about the functions, banquets, the breakout rooms. If you need those for your upcoming banquet, get on the schedule today. All right, just a few comments. And I had just talked, Henry Peterson, you saw him last week for Hermantown. I just talked to his dad last week, that day actually. And yeah, a quiet commitment to St. Thomas. I had no idea.
I didn't know about it either, and I was talking about it on the air. I don't know if you were listening to that on the air. I was talking about it on the air, and I was looking at Hermantown's roster sheet. Whenever we go to a game and we call a game, they always give us the line chart, right? And we're looking at, well, I can't read Hermantown's line chart because it's in like a 4 font, like size. So I can't read it. I need cheaters in order to read it, or a magnifying glass. And I was looking down at, then you always have the little, if they're committed, if they got a tender for somebody in the North American League, if they're an affiliate for someone in the USHL, they always put a little logo in the slot next to them. Or if they're committed D1, they put a logo in. Well, I look at the logo and I'm looking, I was like, that's St. Thomas? I didn't know. And then I'm talking about it on the air, and I actually got a text message from Coach Clafton, who says, yeah, he is committed. Committed, and he is. And then as you start to look at him, watch him play more and more, he doesn't bring that offensive threat every time he's out there. But here's what if you're looking at being an aspiring defenseman, that's going to be a prospect. Sometimes you don't notice the guys, because when you notice them on the back end, it's because they're getting burned, right? It's quiet for him because you don't notice it, because he does everything right on the back end. He doesn't get beat. He plays the game the right end. He makes it look easy. It's effortless for him. That's something that stands out for scouts too. He can be on the offense too. Actually made a couple of plays to the net. I think he had
he had one, right? Yeah. He sniped that one from like top of the circle.
Yeah, he had a goal, but you don't see that as much. You see him as being a very steady defenseman on the back end.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Henry. Nice Jake Seitz interview you guys did, or Bob did during the intermission.
Yeah, I told Bob, I said I was really jealous. I actually love that kid a lot. Jake played for me for 4 years in Virginia. He played as a freshman and played all the way through senior year for me. And we had our tough times. Like, we had our struggles. Like, he wasn't always the easiest to coach, and I wasn't always the easiest on him. Like, he was the best player that I coached through the Virginia program.
Okay.
He's the best player that I coached through that program. And I was hard on him because I knew he needed to be pushed, and he didn't like it. And years after the fact, he had said to me, we had some tough times, but I really appreciate being pushed as hard as I needed to be pushed. And I was tough on him. Like, there was a moment in his career where senior year where I had to say, there's a problem here. I'd take the CF's jersey for a couple of days.
Oh,
I did. And that was hard to do. I mean, he earned it back a few weeks later. So it was, we had some tough times, but those tough times created a relationship with us that I thought was really special. I really wish I had the opportunity to interview him. And Bob did. Bob did it, and Bob did a nice job.
Yeah. Oh, it's
interviewing him. But I love that kid. I'm so happy with where he's went with his career. 3 years of playing juniors for the Minnesota Magicians, and now is having a nice career, and 1 more year left at St. Scholastic.
Yeah, it sounds like not only is he having a good year, the team
is rated in the country. I think he either in the top 10 or close.
Okay.
So doing a great job.
Yeah, awesome. I know he's played men's league with his dad for the last 20 years. So it's funny to see. He's a man now. I remember he was a little kid. Now he's a man with that big.
He's got a beard now.
Yeah, like a big goatee. I'm like, geez, look at it. Everyone grows up. All right, Monday. Happy birthday, Coach Rewerts, real quick.
Hey,
get that in
Coach Rewerts.
Yeah, Coach Rewerts, another year wiser. NHL front, back to the Olympics in Milan, Italy in 2026. I don't know, did you see that?
Ooh.
Yeah, so no All-Star game in 2020. No All-Star game next year for some reason. Someone could put that in the comments. I heard there's might be some international tournaments, so maybe that, like the Canada Cup thing coming back. I don't know, or World Cup of Hockey, I think is what they call it now. And then so no NHL All-Star game in 25, no NHL All-Star game in 26. The boys will be over in Milan, Italy. One thing to keep an eye on, and I wasn't able to get all the info, but the La Crescent Hoka's Wyatt Farrell has been leading basically points and goals the whole year. 47 Gs. He's closing in on the state's all-time goal scoring record. So keep an eye out for Wyatt. Like I said, I don't know what that number is. I couldn't find it, but he's got 47 tucks this year, and he's going for the all-time record. A couple more things. Zach Parise, did you see that signing?
I did.
800,000, 1 year, 21 goals last year. Now wearing an Avalanche uniform.
That's good for him. Nice little setup for him at the end of his career, and give him another year to wear the jersey in the show. And
yeah, I think
we're number 9.
I think it's
like
great. Yeah.
9.
Oh, is he back to 9?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. So congratulations to our former Minnesota Wild player, Zach Parise. All right, some scores and more from the week that was. Bemidji with a 2-1 OT loss to Elk River. Warroad.
Elk River is flying right now.
Are they?
Section 8,
they beat
Section 8. Watch out. Like, this weird when we start talking about seedings and things like that. I'm glad that I'm not coaching in that section and have to put in a vote for seeding in that section. It is a complete debacle to try and figure out who's this, who's that. But their teams are beating each other all over the globe, all the way down to like 6, 7, 8. Like, yeah, Brainerd's beating some teams, and they're probably going to be the mid to low end of that. You know, Bemidji's beating some teams.
Yeah.
Roseau, Moorhead,
yeah,
Elk River. Elk River's had 2 huge wins in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Huge.
Yeah, exactly. So keep an eye on it. Are they QRF?
I know they're going to vote.
Did they
I
vote?
believe they vote.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it. I'm not sure, but I don't think there's anybody right now that uses the QRF and AA. I don't think.
So he didn't
Put it in the comments if you know, but I don't think it is. I think the last team that did was Section 7, and we got rid of it.
Okay. All right. So that could be a heated meeting. So again, Warroad with a 6-3 loss to East Grand here on Tuesday night. Spuds up next for Warroad. So that'll be one to watch too. If the Spuds dump one, that'll even add more drama to AA. Ely thumped by North Shore 7-0. Roseau dumps Thief River 5-2. Denfeld 3-0 losers to the Thunderhawks here on Tuesday night. Cloquet 6-2 losers to Champlain Park. Greenway with a 6-6 tie to Red Lake Falls. Proctor 2-1 win over Marshall. 8-2 in 2024 for the Proctor Rails. 8-2 this year.
Yeah, you know, somebody talked about that game here in the last couple of days about, hey, that game, this and that, and you know, Marshall's trying to find their way in the top of that, somewhere in that mid range to get respect for seedings in 7AA, and they lost to Proctor. You know what? There's a lot of people that could lose to Proctor right now when you're playing against AJ Rocks.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that was a goaltending battle in that game. You had Keenan Smith, who is the 9th grader for Duluth Marshall, who's kicking them out left and right. You got AJ Riles, who's kicking them out left and right. Like, that's the battle of 2 of the top goalies in the area.
Yeah, I think
they're good.
Keep an eye on Marshall. I think they're young, and you know, they're all getting this ice time, and because I think they barely have a JV, so I think the kids are playing a lot, you know, and so they're one to keep an eye on here moving forward. North Shore, 6-1 winners over Moose Lake Willow River. Brainerd with a 4-1 loss to Sartell. Hermantown 1-0 loss to Moorhead on Saturday. I watched just a little bit of that. I Falls down by Red Lake Falls 7-0. East, the 6-4 loss to Champlain. And Rockridge beat Brainerd 4-2. Oh, and here's one, a rivalry game. I just found this one. Mankato East versus Mankato West.
That's the big one.
Sound good?
Yeah.
4-2, maybe an empty netter. I just saw the score. And then, of course, the Walleye Scott CFP Edina Hornets update. I watched a little one on this on Saturday. The Hornets with the 5-3 win over Hill Murray.
You're still number 2.
Yep.
You're still sitting at number 2, and you still got the undefeated, unbeaten Tonka Skippers that I don't know if they'll lose the rest of the year, to be dead honest with you.
Yeah.
Good, and if they do, it'll be a fluke because they got blue chippers on that team,
Yeah.
left and right. But
Well, sometimes, you know, we talked about that last year where Warroad come in undefeated, like, you know, would they've been better off maybe having a lot.
Yeah, I ate
or,
crow
you know,
on that
just,
one.
it
Remember
just,
that?
just to,
the
well,
throw tasted really good.
wow, but hey, they were the favorites, but you know, sometimes that loss just levels you a little bit, you know what I mean? Just gets you to.
It does, and you know what? Sometimes a loss in the regular season is an opportunity for you to exercise some resiliency. Like, some tough times happen, you needed to grow, you needed to wake up, you needed a shot in the rear end, and then you fly from there.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like, if I don't know, man, you go into a season like 2015 when you had Lakeville North go through an undefeated season, like, that's pretty impressive. to be able to do that, because if you can keep a team all year long motivated when they just flew through the year and won every game and then go through win the state tournament, like that's rare
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
where you see that. So it'd be interesting to see how Tonka finishes and goes through the season.
All right. He's Coach Reed Larson. He's not just a hockey coach. He's a football coach. And of course, this weekend's the big Super Bowl. So who does Coach Reed Larson have on the docket for the Super Bowl? Who are you thinking?
I don't know. Like, it's so hard for me.
Taylor
to
Swift?
cheer.
We talked.
I actually like the Chiefs, but I'm just gonna cheer for the other side.
Really?
I'm just
Okay.
gonna do it. Because I don't want to get into. Did you see the last game? Did you watch where the camera kept going up to Taylor Swift and kept coming in, and Taylor just looks and goes, God, would you stop? Just stop. Stop. She doesn't want to be on there.
Well, like I was telling my wife, this will be the most watched Super Bowl by teenage girls probably ever. Right?
Well, how would you like to be Usher? Like, Usher's playing at the halftime
he's halftime
show,
guy? Okay.
and like
Nobody's talking about
Nobody
it. I didn't even know. There we
no,
go.
Usher's playing. Nobody cares. Taylor's here. I mean, that's everybody's saying. It's like you know what? The NFL has made more money off
soaking
of
it up.
this that they are just soaking it up, and I can't even stand it anymore.
Well, I was talking to some people yesterday. Could this be peak NFL? This whole Taylor thing, sometimes there's just those moments and you look back and you say that was the moment, the shark jumping, or whatever you want to call it. But maybe we'll look back in 20 years and say peak NFL was right around that time that Taylor got big, and with what's his name, Kelsey, and I don't know, but yeah, they're riding the wave. That's for sure. The NFL.
Did you see the meme after that game when the Chiefs win, and the picture, and it shows Taylor Swift after the game coming up and giving Travis Kelce a hug, and it like she's whispering something in his ear. So the little meme picture is her giving him a hug and whispering in his ear, and the caption is, "I wish you were a hockey player."
Well, you said he was, right?
He was. He was. I wish you played hockey or something like that. It was great.
That is great.
It's awesome, but you know what? It's been interesting for football.
Oh, for
with
sure.
this
Yeah. And like I said,
whole
more
thing.
teenage girls. I bet you if you wanted to target teenaged girls, you're wishing you would have got your Super Bowl slot back in July, because it's going to be big. All right. Anything to add? Episode 79.
No, I just think that with things winding up here, you've got another week after this of regular season play. Most teams are wrapping it up on Tuesday or Thursday next week, either the 13th or the 15th. Some might play that Friday, but if they do, likely it may not get results in before the seeding. I think the seeding has to be done by Friday that next week. So the seeding's coming around. Games are important. There's a big game tonight for Section 7 AA, and it matters for that middle of the range seeding for 7 AA. Duluth Marshall plays Duluth Denfeld tonight. That is a big game. That game is going to make some decisions at what's 5, 6, and 7 going to be.
Okay.
1 through 4 are basically set.
Yeah.
But 5, 6, and 7 could get interesting, and Duluth Marshall needs to find a way to beat Denfeld. Forest Lake has got some pretty good arguments where they're sitting right now. They're sitting in a possible 5 spot, and they've beat some teams.
Yeah. Right.
Cedar Rapids, they've beat Cloquet. There's teams they've beat, so they've made it look a certain way for them, but a win for Duluth Marshall, knocking off Denfeld. If they win, they have an argument in that area too. So again, that 5, 6, and 7 can be kind of a mess. But if Denfeld wants to find themselves at a 5 or a 6, then they need to win.
Pull this one out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest below that, I think, are fairly clear. And we're not even going to talk about 1 through 4 because I don't think that much changes there.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. All right, please comment. We always enjoy your comments. If you want to contact us more privately, Goatsportsmediallc at gmail.com. Hammer the follow button, hammer the like button. Find us under Tea with Ms McGill on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the Musi app. T McGill on Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it these days. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube under Goat Sports Media LLC. Like I said, leave a review for us on Facebook. We'd appreciate that. Merch is always in the back, $20 for a tee, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We'll take care of that. Email, message, whatever. We'll get you hooked up. And once again, thank you to the great partners on Earth, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, the Blanton Foundation, Iron Ridge Apparel and ODR Apparel, Fortune Bay Resort and Casino, Aspire Heating and Control, Iron Range Goalie Academy, and Team Minnesota Hockey. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill Show. And go girls, playoffs, go girls.